Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back for episode 2 of the Unmasked podcast.
We're back. We're here.
Again, I am one of your hosts, Spencer, alongside of
Andy Driscoll. And we are back. And we are
right.
here. This time we are, last time we recorded our first episode of season 2, we were in Louisville, right?
That's right.
So we had a retreat and with the team that we're on, and it was in Louisville, so it worked out. We were at Life Point Church where I'm at, and now we are in Cincinnati.
That's right. Welcome to my side of the country.
I'm okay with that.
Well,
Simply because of the Bengals. But,
pretty much. That's right.
You know, so.
How do you feel about the Bengals?
Who dey? I'm excited. I'm worried a little bit about Joe because I think he's fine, but
that injury's not.
It's one of those that can linger.
Right. They're playing it off as like not a big deal to the fan base.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about sports injuries, you know that this is one that could be a problem.
Yeah, like calf strains, hamstrings, those things just linger if you don't give them the proper amount of time.
Right.
And so hopefully they're given the proper amount of time. I don't think it's an Achilles. I've read on some like fan boards, and they're all like, oh, no, I think it's the Achilles. If it was the Achilles, we wouldn't have seen him in practice the other day, you know, jogging around, running, and doing some things like that. That Achilles is no joke. That's a major surgery.
Are they saying he's back for week 1?
I've heard mixed.
That's what
I've heard mixed stories. I've heard these will be back for week 1, but you know, it's like last season all over again. You know, we're all hyped up about it. Season's going to be phenomenal coming off Super Bowl, and then you know, dude has like what he had appendicitis and so he sat out all the preseason. And you know, Joe's the GOAT. Joe Shiesty is Joe Shiesty, but you know, a new offensive line last year that didn't play any preseason games. And then him coming out, we just started off slow. And I think, you know, I was hoping we were going to have a fresh Joe coming in and, you know, another injury. But I think we'll be fine, man. I think our, you know, obviously our division is the toughest in the NFL, period.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I read, because, you know, I don't like the Ravens because they're in our division.
Yeah, I hate them.
But I love Lamar Jackson because I'm from Louisville, and
with that one.
I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. He's a good dude. Like,
it's hard for me.
Like, he's incredible to watch. I'm always conflicted. I
only know him as a Raven, so it's hard for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, he's good.
I'm sure. But I had season tickets for Louisville football when he played, and it was
awesome. Some
of the greatest like football times of my life watching football because he was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a video game all the time. But I've read some articles about their training camp. RG3 posted something too, and I read that they are clicking on all cylinders. And
the Steelers, I know it's preseason, but the Steelers just whooped.
They look
the
sick,
Bills.
man. They look sick at all levels. So
that one scares me.
Yeah.
Take it,
I do,
man,
dude. I mean, our division is stacked.
Yeah.
And even, you know,
and then you have
I've heard the Browns are clicking too. Like, it's crazy. I've seen a lot of people just in general, like, you know, you get on TikTok or Facebook or not Facebook, Instagram or whatever, and you see all these different, you know, who's going to win this division. Not even Bengals fans are even in our division, but, you know, and a lot of people are picking the Browns
to win
our division. And I'm just like,
that's probably because they're expecting Deshaun Watson to be old Texans Watson.
Yeah.
And I
don't think he's going to be.
I don't think he's going to be either. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
But
I hope they're not. I'd love to see him finish last in our division.
Same.
Like,
who do you
like
hate
last?
who do you hate the worst in our division? It's an easy Steelers.
I mean, it's got Steelers, yeah. It has
easy.
to be. It has to be. And it's like, I don't even know why.
I don't either.
But the Steelers. So it's like,
their fans
screw
suck.
the Steelers. I
don't know. Yeah.
That's like, you know, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan in baseball, and it's like, who do you hate most in MLB?
Yankees.
It's the Yankees.
Right.
They're last in our division right now, and I love every minute. Now, we are like 5 games just ahead of them. It's like not like the Red Sox are having this incredible season, but as long as they're in last, I'm enjoying life.
So since we're in Cincy and you're a Bengals fan, I know you just said you also love the Red Sox, but are you a Reds fan too, or no? Is that just different?
No, I'm a Reds fan.
Okay. So
I mean, the Red Sox are obviously way over top of anybody because it's my team. But I grew up, you know, being in Louisville, we have 0 professional sports teams.
Yeah.
So you just kind of pick, you know. So when I was real young, you know, going to Reds games, I'm like, oh, I like the Reds. But then I shifted over to liking the Pittsburgh Pirates, believe it or not.
Really?
Only because of their third baseman at the time when I was little was Andy Van Slyke.
Okay.
So his name was Andy.
Yeah. That's your
So
name.
I was little.
Right.
And then they had Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla on that same squad. They were tough, man. So I liked them for a while. Then I went back to the Reds because they were local.
Yeah.
And I started liking Ken Griffey Jr. And then when he came to the Reds, that was pretty sick. And finally, I think all people like in Louisville, not everybody, you know, some people like they grow up with teams because it's the family team.
Yeah.
My family didn't really have a baseball team. My dad was for football was a Washington Redskins at the time, Commanders now. But I didn't care about them.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, we should.
My high school was the Redskins.
Was it?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, well, there'll be another episode.
Yeah.
Coming soon. But then I fell in love with Nomar Garcia Parra.
Yeah.
And I played shortstop in high school.
Yeah.
And so then it was just
you were
like
a pitcher. No, you were a quarterback.
I did. Yeah, well, I pitched too.
Okay.
I mean, I went to a small Christian school, dude. You had to do everything.
You did everything.
And in football, I played like no joke.
Dude, you pitched and then ran down and caught
Oh, yeah.
in the same.
I'm tall, but I'm slow. The only reason I would be considered somewhat fast is because I have a long stride, but I couldn't get there for that. No, I played. I would play shortstop, and when I pitched, if I started that game, I would pitch, and if I get pulled or they bring someone else in, I'd go straight to shortstop. Or if I had still a few innings left, during that week, I'd be on shortstop, and if they wanted to bring me in to close, I would come straight from shortstop.
Yeah.
But in football, I was quarterback. My junior year, I was quarterback, defensive end, punter, and kicker.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait, you weren't just a quarterback?
No. Bro,
I feel like even in small schools, when you're the quarterback,
my
you're
high
the quarterback.
school had like under 100 kids in the entire high school
Okay.
total.
All right.
So our football
How did
team,
you
we
even have a
had to
football
play.
team?
We had to play both sides. Like everybody played every position.
Wow.
Not every position, but offense and defense. So
That's
now my
so
senior
wild.
year, because my junior year I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus, and so I was coming.
rough.
It was
a lot.
It was trashed. Thank you, Caverna, Kentucky.
Golly.
So my senior year they didn't want me to play
Right.
defense, so I didn't play defense, but I still was our punter and our kicker, and I
Wow.
did set the school record. Just so you know, I beat my dad's record.
No
For
way.
the longest punt. I think it was like 65 yards or something like that. So
Okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it was a boot.
That's
And
pretty
then I
cool.
broke my leg the next series.
Wow.
So it was short celebration for that record. My high school football career was very tragic.
That sounds
My
like it.
right leg is destroyed.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. I would do it all over again.
Would you?
I would.
I-
But that's
do
why
you-
my son doesn't play. Because I'm like, dude, don't. Because he's huge. He's a
Yeah.
monster. He's 13. He's 5'10", like
Yeah.
165. He's a
Wow.
monster. And I'm like, dude, don't you want to play football? Or always like, as soon as he got into middle school, the coach was like, hey,
Right.
son.
They're watching them.
Hey, son, you want to play some football?
Absolutely.
And he was like, why would I want to go play football? All you do is get hurt. Because he's just heard all my stories. I'm like, well, fair enough. But I'm
Right.
like, because it's
And you
fun.
yeah. Do you miss those days? Like, do you miss?
Yeah. No, I do. I'm competitive.
Yeah, same.
Natural competitor.
So what do you do now to scratch that itch?
Golf,
I think-
golf, softball.
Okay, you play softball.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm about to start my sport was soccer, and I'm about to
Yeah.
start an indoor league, an adult league.
that'd be
I've
tight.
done it in the past, but it's been a little while, and
yeah.
I'm
Dude, soccer.
more out of shape.
So I
and,
never played soccer. So
we'll see
I
what
did when I
happens.
was little. I think most people played, soccer. You just chase the ball around kind of thing when you're
Right.
little. But so my school, when I was in 6th grade, we didn't have a football team because my school was kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have a football team then, but we had a soccer team. So, but
Okay.
my 6th grade year, they decided to drop soccer and take up football.
Really?
Yeah. So we had our first year as a school playing football when I was in 6th grade. And so we did a middle school team, a freshman team, junior varsity team, and varsity team. We started off
Wow.
that way. I don't think we ever filled the freshman team. Because again, that would
We
been
have
like
a-
that'd have been like 5 guys.
Right.
Well, maybe a few more than that. But so yeah, so I never had a chance to really play soccer, but I've played some just recreationally with friends and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's a blast. It's exhausting.
We have so let's see, when this comes out, this will already have happened, but my wife and I have season tickets to FC Cincinnati,
Yeah,
and this wasn't a part of the package, but
they're number 1 right now, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which is awesome. To go from literally being the last place team in the entire league for their first 3 years, they got They got rid of a bunch of players. They got new coaching staff and a new GM. And now last season they made the playoffs, which was huge. And this season, so in 5 years,
Sounds like the Bengals.
it's unbelievable. It's actually and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, but we have Messi. Messi's coming.
No way.
Miami. Yeah, dude. So you know that, right? Messi's at Miami.
Yeah, but I didn't. So
And-
they're coming to Cincy to play.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Oh, that's sick.
Which again, by the time this episode comes out, will have happened. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
But yeah,
I mean,
dude,
I don't
I'm pretty
follow
pumped.
soccer at all, but I know Messi.
Dude, I'm so
and
excited.
and if he was coming to my city,
so here,
I would
so-
try to get tickets to go see that.
So here's the deal: knowing that because this just restarted, probably not many FC Cincinnati fans are going to listen to this podcast, if any ever.
What?
If any ever. I'm going to say what I'm about to say.
Oh, we're gonna get
part
whatever
of
you're about
me-
to say. We're gonna clip it and get it out there. We gotta get the people.
A part of me, even as a diehard FC Cincinnati fan, Cincinnati season tickets, like my wife go really hard. I don't know that I would be that upset if Messi just puts on a show in Cincy and annihilates us by himself.
See,
That for me, it's like, here's the deal: if we lose and Messi's on
We
the
just
bench,
lost any FC
and
fans.
or I know, right? If we lose and Messi's on the bench, because there's a chance he started every game since he's been here, and they just won the Nations League. So
right?
So there's a chance they'll sit him for part of this game.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't
know.
Is it kind of like? I mean,
heard both.
is Miami locked up for playoffs?
No,
Because
they're in the last dude.
so
here's what-
do they even have a chance to make the playoffs?
like when he
Gotcha.
when he was signed, they were like 2%.
Okay.
But when you look, because there's only like I think 11 games left this season.
Yeah.
something like 10 to 12, depending on how many
How
games.
long
each
is the
team has
season?
Played.
Like how many games?
I should know that.
Like 30?
30.
Are they like half? So they're a little past halfway through, or
Yeah, hang on, I'm gonna look that up. That's
on the
really
on the tail
embarrassing.
end?
That's
I didn't
really-
mean to put you on blast like that.
Thanks, dude.
I just know nothing about soccer. I know we've got Louisville FC, which is like the minors, right?
Right.
And that's fun. That's always great to go see.
So there are 34. I said 30.
Okay, yeah, you were on
I
it.
said
You were on it. Don't doubt
I
yourself,
got it.
bro. You got
Shoot.
this.
Dude, you made me nervous.
The ultimate fan.
34. Plus,
I mean, I think
playoffs.
you even said like 34 to 36. We'll go back and look, but you was on it.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know, man. For
Well,
me,
see-
it's just like if he, for me, Messi is the GOAT. I think, like,
Oh, no doubt.
It's kind of, I mean, people want to say like when you compare Jordan and LeBron, it's like they're
Right.
two completely different players.
Yeah. I hate
Style,
that comparison.
context
I hate it.
of absolutely.
I mean, Jordan, it will always be the GOAT to me, but it's just
Same.
it's not apples to apples.
It's not. In soccer, Messi and Cristiano,
Yep.
Ronaldo, right? They're the ones that have always been linked. They play similar positions.
Okay.
They're different style players, but they play similar positions, and so the argument can be maybe a little closer.
Sure.
And for me, Messi takes it. That's just
Yeah.
the way that I don't know why.
I wouldn't know.
I just always think I've always thought that, and
I know Ronaldo, Messi, and Pele.
that's there you go. That's good
And,
enough. I'm proud of you for
what's
that.
his face? Married a Spice Girl,
Oh, David Beckham.
David Beckham.
Yeah,
I should've
So
known
David
David
Beckham,
Beckham, but-
owns Inter Miami,
Okay.
who brought Messi
Okay.
to
Okay.
the league.
That was my pro soccer knowledge right there.
there you go.
That's
I'm
it.
proud of you, bro.
That's it.
That's good. So, all right. Well, we got to move on. But
Anyways.
this is. I'm pumped for Wednesday.
Yeah.
we'll talk.
Oh, dude,
about
that'll
it.
be awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Yeah, I'm
it
stoked
next
for you.
episode.
Now, I do feel like I have to say that if I was in your shoes and I was a fan, I would want Messi to go off. But see, this is where I'd be like, I want Messi to go off and just dominate,
And us
but
still
then
win.
lose by a goal.
Exactly. Now, if that
That would be like the perfect case scenario,
absolutely
right? Okay.
absolutely, and that is my dream.
See, this is way off topic, but on topic. But that's like, when we first had kids, when Sawyer was little, we were like, so I'm a Louisville fan. My wife's a UK fan.
There you
So
go.
we are a house divided, which is very common in
Yeah.
Louisville. There's a lot of Kentucky fans, unfortunately, in Louisville. But, whatever. I married her, for better or worse. But she asked me once, she was like, so what happens if Sawyer grows up and he's great at either football or baseball or basketball or golf or whatever, and he plays for UK, I'm like, dude, I'll be his biggest fan.
Yeah.
She's like, well, what about when they play Louisville? I said, I hope he has the best game of his life and they still lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because I want him to show out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I still want them to lose.
But I want him to lose.
Yeah. So that's a great way to put it.
Should have went to Louisville.
That's a great way to put it. Dude, I'm a huge Messi fan. I always have been. So we'll see.
Oh, that'll be sick.
It'll be fun.
I'm stoked for you. All right. So as you can tell, our setting and environment is a little different than what the show started off with.
The intro was, yeah.
Yeah. So as you know, this is week 2 of our podcast, and we're working out some of the bugs of recording the podcast and primarily the video piece of it. And so
we're real good at this so far.
Yeah, obviously, as you can tell, right? It's only going to get better. I promise you, it's going to
only go up from here.
But basically, what happened was we had all of our audio and everything was great. We were both psyched because it was amazing. But
we were in Cincy together.
Yeah, we were in Cincy together. Now he's in Cincinnati. I'm in Louisville. We're both at our churches, and it is what it is. But we we lost the audio and or we lost the video. We had the audio. We lost the video, right?
We lost the audio. We had the video. Somehow, we had the video. Halfway through our recording, we lost audio. Video continued, and I just wasn't watching the monitor. And this is my fault.
Good times is what it is. So we decided to rehit the last part of our podcast again in this format here, and this is going to be a reoccurring format as well for us. So because it's gas prices are super high, and trying to get back and forth from Louisville to Cincinnati, although it's not super far,
not too bad.
It's still a distance. So but anyway, so we apologize for that. Like I said, it's just going to get better, and we appreciate you all sticking here with us, and we're just going to get to it.
All right, so I think it's interesting that our intro was all about sports, Bengals and stuff, because it leads right into the segment that we wanted to talk about, that we kind of had planned to talk about.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
It's a doozy. So
let me ask you this. Do you think Michael Orr was ever really adopted?
Yeah, bro. That is the question that is popping up all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, it is absolutely wild. I guess in our here in 2023, it never ceases to amaze me what comes up. What's going to pop in the news, what's going to happen. But I mean, that storyline and the movie The Blind Side was so long ago that I just thought it was a distant memory. But dude, here we are talking about The Blind Side and Michael Orr.
Dude, that's what got me, is the fact that it's 2023. The movie came out in what, 2006?
Yeah,
I think? Yeah, something like that.
2006.
And
no, that's when it all happened. I think the movie released. Let me look. Yeah, it released in, I believe, 2009.
Okay, still
somewhere around it.
I'm sorry,
freaking long time ago.
3 years off.
How dare you?
Wait a minute. Yeah, 3 years off.
Yeah.
So
math are hard.
Math's hard. So 2009 to 2023. How did it take him this long to learn that he wasn't adopted?
Bro, that's I guess that's the biggest question that I have. In this whole situation is I get it if there was some type of weird situation that happened to where, he wasn't adopted and it was a conservatorship that he signed as opposed to adoption paperwork, for an 18-year-old kid. I could see that confusion, but I mean, the dude is 37 now, and he's just now coming out saying, yeah, I was never adopted. And he didn't just say, I'm coming forward with this for the first time. Yeah, he's really saying I just discovered this. I just found this out that I was never adopted.
Right.
And that's what's crazy.
It's fascinating, dude. It's fascinating. The fact that he, I mean, he grew up the way he did.
Yeah.
Was invited into this family who Hollywood made us all believe was just this beautiful family, welcoming
Beautiful.
and the struggling kid who, with this incredibly heartwarming story,
Yeah.
who went on to play in the NFL, who ended up being incredibly talented and won a Super Bowl with the
Oh yeah.
Ravens,
Yeah,
to
dude.
now
I mean, the
coming
dude.
out as
Yeah, the dude played 8 years. So he went to Ole Miss. Yeah,
right,
and then was super successful there. Gets
right,
gets drafted to the Ravens. 5 years with the Ravens. Wins the Super Bowl,
yeah,
which the Bengals will do this year. I'm calling it. I'm predicting it. But so 5 years with the Ravens, then spends 1 year with the Tennessee Titans, and then
right,
finishes career 2 years with Carolina Panthers. I mean, the dude had a successful career,
yeah.
and now we're back like in this controversy. So for
It
for
it
those of
makes I
go
just
ahead.
real quick. I know because I know we're gonna get into it, but it makes like the details and stuff. But it makes me curious. Like, is he struggling financially after retirement?
Bro, I don't know. Like, here's the thing, and I'll get into the story a little more for those that may not fully know kind of fully what's going on. But like,
Right,
here's the thing. The foundation of it all is it was like you said, it's this is a heartwarming story, beautiful story of empathy, of a family
right,
stepping up and helping out a child in need. I mean, this kid was homeless, he didn't have
right,
access to education and was just struggling, and then here they bring him in to change his life forever, which is what people should do. I mean, when we talk about, again, us being pastors, we talk about a biblical narrative. We are called to take care of widows and orphans, man. And they were
right,
they were doing that. Like,
right,
on the surface is what it looks like. They were doing like this beautiful work that brought this kid in, made sacrifices to do that, and opened their home, opened their lives, and it changed the trajectory of this kid's life.
right,
And that's such a beautiful story, a story that we should celebrate, and
right,
which was celebrated in this movie. And now it's like, but was it all a lie?
right.
Was this family really taking advantage of this kid that they saw as, dude,
Man,
this kid's going to be in the NFL, and this is our ticket to fame and being
right,
connected into that world and into money? And it's
right.
like, I hate to think that. Like, I don't want to think that, because
But it also wouldn't be hard. Like, sadly, it's like I try and have as much hope for humanity as
sure,
possible.
sure.
It often lets me down, but I
Yeah, I know it.
try.
I know it. I feel you.
But at the same time, if you go back and watch not just even the movie, because they obviously uh Hollywooded it up, right? But
Sure. They took
um
creative liberties.
they did. But even if you go back and like just try and watch highlights of his actual high school career and stuff and different, I mean, his talent at that level when they would have met was otherworldly. And so
Oh, to
it
think that.
wouldn't be hard for them to expect, okay, this kid's going places.
Yeah. And
Maybe
let's
we sh-
go along for the ride.
maybe we should go along for the
Gosh.
ride.
Bro,
Dude,
I
I
would
don't know, man.
I mean, I try to believe the best in humanity as well. I'd love to see that. Um, my challenge is that I spent, and I know you know this, and I may have mentioned this on our first one, I'm not sure, but I mean, I spent 12 and a half years working in a psychiatric residential treatment facility for kids. And
Right,
I was the director of that program, and dealt with the foster care system and child welfare.
right,
And it's incredible work, it's needed work, it's beautiful work, but there is an ugly underbelly to it.
right,
I can't tell you the number of times that we saw people that would step into the foster care system as, hey, we want to be foster parents. And their only motivating factor, like, you didn't know it on the surface, but they would get into the system and their only motivator was, I can get a check for these kids.
right. Right.
And, you know, we would have kids that would discharge from our program into a foster family because they would come to us for more intense psychiatric treatment, and they would stay with us for anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And then once their behavior stabilized, you know, they worked through some of their trauma and they were ready to step out into a family, they would go into a foster family. And man, it breaks my heart because there were times that kids would then come back to us 6 months later and we're like, what happened? You were doing so well. And they're like, dude, they didn't take care of me. Like,
Wow.
you know, they had me in like in a room locked up most of the day, and they, you know, gave me my basic needs, but they treated me like crap, you know, and really I was just a means to a check for them. And, you know, so they know what to do. They disrupt, they act out so that they'll send them back, and then they're out of that toxic situation. And it's disgusting and it breaks my heart, but dude, that stuff happens.
But it happens.
And so I say all that to say it is not out of the realm of possibility that this family, the Tui family, whether they really intentionally meant to do that or not, but that their motives were influenced, I guess I could say, by the fact that this kid was a star.
Right. Stud.
Dude, he was a stud. Yeah. And he
Absolute
was going
stud.
to go for sure to play college full ride, and was going to go into the NFL. Like there was no question about it. As long as he made the grades and he stayed out of trouble, that dude was going to go to the top of the game. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I just hate to think that that's the case. But I also hate to think that Michael Orr is now really crapping on all what they did for a money grab. So either way, it's like, it's gross, man. And it's heartbreaking, whichever side is real.
Yeah. I mean, I would, just for the sake of the story, like I hope, I would like to say I'm on the side of Michael Orr.
I agreed.
But at the same time, like, it also sounds like it could have been just a huge miscommunication or misunderstanding, like with some of the numbers and different things. Like Michael Orr is suing the Tui family, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So essentially,
the family's attorney even came out and said, or maybe it was the dad, came out and said he should be suing Hollywood because all of the information, the money, all that stuff that Michael Orr was claiming, apparently was incorrect or false. So do you have those numbers?
Yeah, I do. I have some. So basically on August 14th, Orr petitioned the Tennessee courts basically to end the legal relationship with the Tui family. He claimed that he recently realized, and this is what blows my mind, that he recently found out that he was never adopted, as was depicted in the film, but rather they tricked him into signing an agreement, basically a conservatorship, which then allowed them to have, like, they could make legal and business decisions on his behalf.
Bro, should we start a hashtag Free Michael?
Free Michael, baby. I'm here for it.
Free Michael.
Free Michael. Free Michael. But so I think that's the and this information, just to source it, was from USA Today. So that I'm reading from.
All right.
But basically the movie earned $309 million at the box office, right? And so there's a lot of things around the money, but there's also some things around, like Michael Orr said that he, back in 2011 in an interview, he was talking about the movie, and one of the things that he said, he didn't really talk about money, but he talked about that he didn't like how the movie portrayed him. So it portrayed him, he said, as dumb instead of a kid who never had consistent access to education.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that once he got that consistent access to education and a stable home environment, that he began to thrive. And so he hates how he said it made him look dumb. So he already had some feelings, which I can understand that, right?
Absolutely.
But according to Orr in his petition, he says that they negotiated a movie deal that the Tuies did. So that the Tuies, through the conservatorship, kind of struck this and negotiated this deal to where the Tui family and their 2 biological children would get $225,000 each and 2.5% of the film's net proceeds. And
Wow.
so they said
That's what Michael was saying.
that's what Michael Orr is claiming.
Okay, that's his side. Okay.
And so that, and then he notes that in 2007, he signed a contract with 20th Century Fox, which he said he didn't know, unbeknownst to him, he basically gave away all of his rights to the story without any type of payment whatsoever. And so
Kind of sounds like Michael
that,
needs to redefine print.
I'm saying, but again, you're talking about a young kid, that's maybe this family. Maybe he's like, oh, they've got this. They're going to do what's in my best interest. They took me into their home. And maybe that's what.
But in 2007, though, he would have been old enough. I mean, they're going back to he's signing off on them going back to tell a story,
right? So
you
should
have had somebody involved saying, "Dude, this doesn't. You shouldn't be signing this."
Yeah, he needed his own attorney. To do that.
I understand. I give him all grace in the world on the first one, like the conservatorship or whatever he signed that he feels like he was misled into. But
you know how contracts are, though.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you sign some legal contracts and you read every fine print, like,
dude, absolutely. I
typically do because I'm OCD and I'm worried about getting screwed over at every turn. Like, I just bought a car for my daughter and I was a disaster for a week, even after buying it, thinking like, did I sign something wrong or do something wrong? But that's just me. I have problems.
That's true.
But
not that you have problems, but
right. So Michael Orr is saying that that the family got $225K each, even their two biological children.
And he didn't get it.
But what the Toohey family is saying is that so this is where things get weird to me, because like the Toohey family, so what's his name? Sean, the dad, he basically said that they didn't make any money off the film. And then turns around and states that everybody in the family, including Michael, got equal share, which was about $14,000 each. So I guess he's saying they got $14,000 each, kind of as a contract, but they didn't make any proceeds off the film.
Okay.
The person that said that everyone should be mad at the Hollywood studio system and should join the writer's strike was some dude named Lewis, who's like a family friend. I think he wrote a book.
Oh, okay.
He wrote a book about this story, and that's actually what the movie is loosely based off of, the personal story and some of the book.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And so, but he notes that he and the Toohey family received about $350,000 each in movie profits. So there's all kinds of different storylines and money, and it's crazy. And then you jump into the film producers, and they're saying that Orr's allegations that he didn't make any money off the movie is false. So then you have that coming up.
Wow.
And that the contract that they had him sign was basically in line, in market at the time, for the rights of a movie of a relatively unknown individual. So they're like, no one knew these people other than Michael Orr, basically playing college football or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if he was in the NFL at that time. I don't know full timeline, but basically, like, they're saying we signed this deal not knowing whether this movie would do good or not. So it's going to be a lowball number because we can't guarantee you all this profits off this, because if it doesn't make any profits, then we're losing out. So they're saying it was in step with the market,
except for the fact that they brought in Sandra Bullock. How do you not? How do you say to Michael Orr, we don't know if this movie is going to make any money, but your co-star, or actually the star of the movie, one of the
Sandra Bullock,
top actresses in Hollywood
at that time, for sure. So you're putting up the money for her. You're like, dude, you're expecting it to do well, right?
Right.
But the film producers state that the talent agency that represented the Toohey family and or received approximately $767,000, I guess, to be distributed to them. So there's all these different numbers. There's all these different stories coming from every direction now that this has been brought up. And we know from how things operate, how the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right?
Right.
It's probably not that the Toohey family were like, we're going to get one over on this kid and we're going to make all this money and screw him or whatever. I don't think that was the case. but there might have been some motivation. And I don't
Yeah.
think Michael Orr is like, man, forget these people because I'm struggling financially and now they're doing well and I'm not, you
Right.
know, so I'm going to come after them just as a money grab. Who cares that they help me? I mean, it, it's got to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I agree with
Yeah.
what you said earlier, man. I like to think that there's just some miscommunication
Yeah.
and there's some fractures somewhere that has happened that has created this
Yeah.
situation.
It's sad to know. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking the whole time. Was like, it's sad to know that this is where it got. Like you would you would think based on the story that the world was told through the movie, you would think that like their relationship as son and parents, um, or whatever it is, like
Conservators.
just would have been strong enough. You would have hoped that it would have been strong enough for Michael to learn this new information and then just go straight to them and be like, yo, what the heck is this? What's
Yeah.
the deal? And then maybe work it out quietly.
Right.
But it seems like somewhere along the line there was a
Yeah.
fracture in the relationship and somebody got pissed,
Yep.
there was hurt feelings, there was whatever it was, apparently potentially even worse than that, but for it to get to where it is now. Um and I hope, man, I don't know, for Michael's sake, for the Tui's sake, for everybody's sake involved, I hope that it was just a miscommunication,
Yeah.
misunderstanding, that it'll get worked out kind of quietly.
I mean, if he did go
But
to
I don't
them
know.
quietly and say, what was going on? How's this happen? Why am I not getting any money based off this? Whatever, blah, blah. If he did do that, obviously that conversation didn't go well
Well, that's true
because
too.
he took it to the
That's
next
true. We
level.
didn't know that. Yeah, we don't know that
So
that didn't
he
happen.
may have,
That's a good
but
point.
and the internet, we can find pretty much anything.
Anything,
And you never know how true anything
right?
is in there, really, because it's just an open
I
source,
don't know.
whatever.
USA Today though, that's a
Well,
reliable
I'm
resource.
jumping off into some other searches, but you had mentioned when maybe Michael Orr's like hurting financially, and that's why he's coming out. I mean, if you look up his net worth, it says the dude's net worth is like 20 mil.
Yeah,
Now, I would think someone that played 8 years in the NFL and has a movie about his life, that his net worth would be more than 20 million.
yeah.
However, that's not chump change.
No,
It's
no,
not chump change. I'd take 20
no.
mil right now and
Absolutely,
I'd be, I'd be good.
absolutely. What about
But
the Tuies? Do you know
but
what?
what, yeah, that's what's interesting. This is where
Do you have?
things
Okay.
take a turn. The Tui family, according to the internet, their net worth is estimated at, are you ready for this?
Is
A
it
hunt,
more?
100 mil.
Oh my gosh.
100 mil.
Oh my
It it
gosh.
it says in the article that I have that it's
But wait
not
a
really.
You know
Yeah,
what sucks is the fact that wasn't Michael didn't Michael Orr think he was a part of the Tui family? Shouldn't some of that be his?
facts. Facts.
I don't
So
know.
so
I don't
does
know,
that
man.
100 million include Michael Orr's 20, or is the Tui family just
Wow.
the was it is it
Wasn't he
Leanne? Is
like
that her name?
wasn't the dad like a restaurant guy?
Yeah, I think
Didn't
he
he
had
like
like,
own restaurants or something?
yeah, a bunch of franchises or something. I don't know. But one of the things the article does said is that it's not clear like how much they profited on the film. But
Yeah.
it did increase their popularity and allowing them to have these new like doors open for business adventures. So
And that makes
ventures.
sense.
So you think about it. Yeah. I mean, like everyone
Yeah.
knows them after that movie. So especially after that movie releases, it blows up. It's a box office hit. Sandra Bullock won like she won an Oscar, right?
Right.
For it. And so it's huge. So everyone knows them. I mean, they could go do a meet and greet and make bank, during that time period. So I'm sure they capitalized on that. They're not dumb people. If he's, running restaurants and franchises and all that kind of stuff is
Right.
super successful, he's a smart dude. He's not
Right.
dumb. And so, I'm sure they capitalized big time on that to set themselves up.
Yeah.
Whether or not they made 14,000 or 225,000 plus 2.5% net proceeds, whatever.
That'd be a lot of money.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
So
I don't
okay,
know
you
what the
just
net proceeds on the whole film were, but
yeah
2.5% of it is probably
yeah.
not
So
chump change.
so before we move on to the last segment of the day, you just mentioned something that to me is probably like the biggest part of this whole story, and it's the fact that there I can't even say it with straight face. I can't even say it with straight face. It's the fact that there are people calling for Sandra Bullock's Oscar to be taken away because of all this.
That's
And I'm
insane.
like, oh
Okay,
my gosh, bro.
so let's think about that from, I guess, from both sides. You know, we talked from the Michael
We
Orr and the
try.
Tui families, both
Yeah, that's
sides. We
right. We try and see
tried
both
to be
sides.
fair on that. Dude, bottom line is, like, I could see both ways, right? Someone saying, "Hey, she won this Oscar based off a movie that potentially is not even true, that it was fabricated, that it, you know,
Isn't that what
yeah,
all movies are?
well, true,
Aren't all
but not
movies
all
just
movies are. You know, when you watched Avatar, they're not like based off real life
well, you know
situation.
what?
You
You
know,
don't know that.
loosely based off of
We don't know
whatever.
what else is out
I
there,
mean,
bro. They could be.
well, that's another podcast for another day because apparently they're
They
out
could
there.
be. They could be.
But but so I could see people saying that. However, that doesn't take away from the
No,
performance that she
dude.
put on.
Yeah,
She is an actor and she knocked it out of the park. And
dude.
she
Yeah,
won the Oscar not because of this kid's story, but because of her portrayal of
her
of
exactly.
his mom or adopted mom or conservator or whatever in this film.
Exactly. To me, they are totally separate. They
They've
and
got to be.
you have to view them as separate. Like the
Yeah.
story, all this controversy, and her role in the film, uh, playing it at her talent, right? Is like it's separate and
Yeah.
playing that role at such a level that, um, she got an Oscar for it. It's they have to be separate. They
Yeah.
have to. It's just
I guess
like
the question is would the film be as big and as marketable if it was just a story as opposed to based on real life? You know what I'm saying? So if it was
yeah.
just, hey, this
I
is just
mean,
a summer movie, here's the plot that this kid that's homeless and in and out of foster homes or, facilities or whatever has this incredible potential football career and he gets adopted by his family and they love him and it's fantastic and he has a home and he has education and then he excels and then he becomes an NFL star. That sounds like the plot of a billion movies, but
yeah. I mean, I feel
would
like
it be
Disney's already
as
done that.
big if it wasn't like a real life story? I guess that's
Right.
the argument. However, it doesn't take away from what Sandra Bullock did in her
What she did.
performance, in her craft of being an actor.
Exactly.
You
I
can't
don't
take
know,
away from
man.
that.
We'll see. We'll see how
Leave her
again.
alone. She got nothing to do with
You leave her
this.
alone. That's right.
She
I
she
feel
she got
like
hired for a job and she crushed it.
well, I feel
Near
like
the end.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as
Yeah,
this
it'll
all
be interesting to
unfolds.
see how it plays out, and if it just does like a lot of things the media do, that it pops off and everybody talks about
Right.
it, and then we're on podcast talking about it. Next thing you know, we never hear anything else about it. So, but it'll be interesting to
Exactly.
see how it happens one way or the other.
Exactly. All right. So before we go, real quick, we're gonna start a new segment
Yes,
called
sir.
Unmasked Reactions. Last week
Yeah,
we
that's
last
right.
week we released a segment of the episode where we responded to or reacted to a pretty crazy pastors gone wild.
Yeah,
Maybe is that a
pretty
thing?
much.
And
Pastors out of pocket.
yeah, pastors out of pocket. And you so the way we want to do this moving forward is it'll kind of be a blind reaction for one of us.
Yeah,
An unmasked blind reaction for one of us. The other person will bring something to this segment, but that'll be for next week. For this week, you sent me something that I want to talk about for just five
yeah.
minutes, and then we'll get out of here.
We got to the
This
unmasked reaction of the week. Here it
and I
go.
and I also want to say this is a clip stolen from another podcast. So shout out to Youth Group Chronicles because they're
Yes,
doing something awesome. If you
it's
follow them,
hilarious.
if you
Go
don't,
follow them if you
go
don't.
follow them. They just
especially if you've
stories
ever
that
been
come
in
up.
youth ministry.
Dude.
If you've ever been in youth ministry, which both of us have,
right?
It is.
It's unbelievable.
It's too close to home, and it's incredible at the same time because
unbelievable.
We got our own stories. So,
all right. So real quick, here we go. We got like 5 minutes. Let's hit this real fast.
The summer camp speaker who brought a goat to camp and let it walk around all week so the kids got attached to it. And then on the final night, he talked about the sacrifice of Jesus. Yes, that he made for them. And he literally killed the goat on stage in front of everyone.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Dude, I can't.
No. Bro.
He says that's demented.
That's
oh
demented.
my god.
That is the only true reaction you should have to that story is that's demented. Now,
unbelievable.
Before we get into talking about this atrocity, period, go back and watch that clip on their Instagram or wherever you find it at. Like, the other guys' reactions to it are phenomenal. Like,
they know
one dude,
coming.
like, he knew what was coming. The other dude just was like, he just couldn't believe what he was hearing. But the other dude was like immediately like hand to the face. He's like, oh no,
so
don't do it.
So real quick, in case you didn't hear it clearly on the phone right there, pastor or speaker, whatever he was, communicator.
I'm sure
was
a youth. It was at a youth camp, so they had to
speaking
at
a youth camp, probably a week-long youth camp.
Yep.
Brings a goat as an illustration, and he's using this goat as an illustration all week. The kids like get to play with the goat all week, falling in love with the goat, right? Probably swimming in the pond with the goat, whatever you do with goats, I don't know. But these kids follow the goat, and then on the last night, he's preaching on the sacrifice of Jesus, and he slaughters this goat in front of all the kids.
It's crazy,
oh, dude. What
I think about, what was going through his mind? Like, bro, I got the best analogy for these kids this summer. It's going to be great.
Gosh.
Like, so, okay. So
and it was freaking unbiblical in the first place because of the sacrifice of Jesus. We don't got to sacrifice animals anymore. Right. So what was he doing?
Right.
And traumatizing kids. Period.
You took an animal's life.
He murdered a goat.
Message point analogy.
All he did was murder a goat.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
It's crazy.
Period.
Insane. So I think about it
in front of kids.
In front of kids. Dude, there's so many things. Like, we could talk the whole podcast on this because there's so many levels and layers to unpack with this. But just that I think about, like, so this summer we have this place in Kentucky. It's about an hour and a half from my house. It's close to Bowling Green, Kentucky, called Kentucky Down Under. It's basically this little zoo, and they got petting zoo. They have a whole area where you can go in this huge enclosure with kangaroos. That's what they're known for. And they have like
that's
100
awesome.
Kangaroos just run around. You can pet them, you can feed them.
What?
Yeah, it's wild. And dude, they are yoked. But anyways, they're huge. But I'll show you a picture. But they also have goats, and they have a petting area. And my daughter, who's 16 years old, when we got there, she didn't want to leave the goats because they had these little baby goats and adult goats. But she was like, dude, these are the cutest things ever. And she was attached and connected to those goats like in seconds, feeding them. She loved it. And to think about, if I sent my daughter off to youth camp, right, for her to be able to socialize, to have that experience, to have this spiritual just opportunity to grow and to hear preaching and to connect with other believers, this incredible week of spiritual formation and growth, right? And I sent her off to that. And then she gets there and she's like, oh my gosh, they have a goat. Like, this is the greatest thing. There's this goat running around, and we get to pet it and we get to feed it, and it's running around and playing with us all week. And then on the last week, the dude gets up there and says, hey, here's Timmy the goat you've been playing with all week, and then slits his throat. And it's like, now let me make this message point. The sacrifice of Jesus. Like, dude, I don't care where it was, I would drive or fly there, and I would want to punch that dude in the mouth. I'd punch him in the mouth before I picked her up.
Yeah.
And so I would be filing a lawsuit against that camp. I don't know if it would go anywhere, dude, but it's just insane.
So what would you have done? Maybe you just answered this, but what would you have done if you were like one of the youth pastors present with his little youth group?
Man,
Would you?
well, again, there's two sides to this, right? Because here we go again. Because like, I would have hoped that the camp would have told the youth leaders what was going to happen.
Either that or they didn't know. It was a surprise.
So if I didn't know,
surprise,
and we went there all week, and shoot, I'd have probably been connected to the goat too. I'm like, dude, this is
right.
I mean, I went to a church camp when I was a kid, and they had like a couple dogs that ran around, and we all loved the dogs. You know, by the end of the week, we were like, dang, we got to leave the dogs. But if I didn't know, and I saw him bring the goat on stage, and he was talking about the sacrifice of Jesus, I would have been squirming in my seat, being like, there's no way this dude is going to kill this goat. There's no way this dude's going to kill this goat. And then if he moved in to kill that goat and started that process, I would have got all my kids, and we would have walked out, and we went back to our dorms. We would have packed up, and I would have left that night.
Man.
And then I would have done all the work that would have to be done on the back end of calling every parent and then having a meeting.
This is what happened.
Probably getting fired by the lead pastor because it was my responsibility. You know how churches work sometimes.
Dude, I don't know.
You know how those lead pastors are. Oh wait, I'm one now.
That's us. Well, it's you. I used to. I got demoted.
now on the flip side, if I was going to that camp and we got there and they said, "Hey, this is what's going to happen," I would have left the camp.
Yeah.
I would have left the camp. I would not have subjected the kids to that trauma.
Yeah.
Because, man, think about it. Like, that is super traumatizing. Now, if you had a kid in your youth group that was a country boy that grew up on farms and was around, pigs or cows being slaughtered and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's still ridiculous. It's still uncalled for. But that would be a little different for that kid. But, dude, I pastor a church in Louisville, Kentucky. It's Kentucky, but, dude, we are the city. Like,
yeah.
In Kentucky, you have Louisville and Lexington. Bro, like Louisville and Lexington are, like, totally separate from the rest of Kentucky. So it's like you have Louisville, Lexington, the city. Right? There's a lot of other places in Kentucky that are more rural and that are more country. But like for my kids, man, like none of them are farmers. None of them I mean, maybe the few here and there would go hunting or whatever, but man, they're city kids.
Right.
And they would be so traumatized by that situation.
Dude.
I mean, most people would. Most normal people that aren't hunters and aren't farmers, working in a slaughterhouse or whatever. That's traumatizing. Unacceptable.
Unbelievable. It's like, I don't understand. Like I've been a pastor now for 8+ years, and I've preached however many hundreds of sermons over those 8 years, and never once have I thought about, and I've had some crazy illustrations.
Right.
Never once have I thought about bringing a live animal onto the stage and let alone kill it.
Right. Right. But just to bring one on the stage.
One on the stage. Dude, I don't know, man. Some of these, crazy. Like back to even what we heard last week, like some of these pastors, bro, are just
out of control.
Dude,
it's like, I mean,
out of control.
But people love a good analogy, right? I mean, there are people that are like different learning styles. You have your more auditory learners, your visual learners, so some people learn a lot better with a visual, with an example, with an analogy. And I'm here for that, dude. Moment. Dude, I'm here for that, right? Like I've used, I remember I used one of my favorite is a Jenga tower, right? Talking about, I did a message on toxic religion, that it's Christ plus nothing. You know, and I had this Jenga tower, and the one bottom one was like, you know, I colored in with a red Sharpie, and that represented Jesus. And all the other blocks were just elements of religion,
Wow,
right?
dude.
So you could knock it out. You could take this one out. You could take, you know, tattoos out, or you could take, you know, your thoughts and ideas on secondary issues out here, and this and this and that. But as long as Jesus is there, it's the tower still remains. But the moment you remove Jesus, boom, the tower fails or falls. So it's this analogy of, you know, it's Christ plus nothing. Simple analogy, gets the point across. There's a visual, the tower collapses, you know, all these things.
Right.
That's a freaking Jenga tower.
Right.
We're not killing goats, bro. Like,
No.
what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, and dude, like, not to get on my high horse, but shame on that camp for allowing that, you know, and shame on that dude for that, dude. It's just like, that is just, it's traumatizing, man. There's kids that were there that are damaged because of that, if they don't go seek therapy or have, you know, good, healthy outlets to talk through that. And there's probably some people that walked away from the faith because of that. Like, if we're being real,
we'll see.
I don't know any of the kids, but I would assume.
I mean,
if I was a new believer, say you had a kid in your youth group, freshman, right? And their family was not religious. The family never went to church. They started going with a friend. They got connected. They gave their life to Jesus maybe 6 months before that, and they love animals. Maybe they're even vegan. And they go to this camp expecting to have this encounter with Jesus and this spiritual moment of their life that's going to transform them. And instead, what they get is to get connected to a goat, build a relationship with a goat that they love, just to watch it in person in real life be murdered, slaughtered on that stage.
Yeah.
God, it's
dude, I mean, I get it. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
Crazy, bro, out of pocket.
It is. It's just uncalled for. Right? I don't. I think like I've said some crazy stuff, but like,
sure,
dude, I've never prayed against hoes and I've never killed animals on stage.
I'm saying, like, I mean, 2 for 2.
So far, I feel like I'm okay.
2. Yeah, I just like, yeah, it's wild, dude. It's wild. It's to push the envelope's one thing, or just to be yourself, right? And be real. To be unmasked as a pastor is a good thing when it's genuine. But man, I think
you think that guy was unmasked? You think? I mean, you think it was that genuine? That guy's genuine? Like,
no,
you don't think so?
No.
You don't think?
No, I think that dude, he was doing it for shock value. Like, and that's what I was getting ready to say. I think our churches today, not all of them, I don't want to, like, you know, lump everybody in together, man, but there are so many churches that it's about how can we push the envelope intentionally for the sake of pushing the envelope. Yeah, I mean, you know, people in your life that are a little more extreme and that are on the edge, but that's who they are. But then you also know those people that are, you know, doing something totally different that is extreme there because they're trying to either figure themselves out or they're trying to for shock and awe. And I think a lot of churches do that, man. Like, it's like the dude in the last video. It's like, as soon as he said that once and got a laugh, then he's riffing off it, you know.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
You know,
you're right.
You're a speaker for youth conferences and you travel around and do that, or maybe it was your first one and you got this opportunity and you're stoked because this is one of the pinnacles that you were striving for, man. It's like, I'm going to be this key speaker at this youth conference. What can I do that people will remember me?
Right.
What can I do where other camps will want to bring me back? Not like, what can I do to present Jesus to these kids? And he's going to mask it through that. He's going to say, well, it was an example of the sacrifice that was made, that they, you know, that God, the Father, gave his only son. You think you love that goat and more than God loved Jesus? No, but God gave Jesus as a sacrifice. That's how impactful it was. And it's like, dude, you're an idiot. You just killed a goat.
just murder to go in
Like,
front
can
of
we
kids.
like throw up a clown emoji right here?
Right, exactly. And dude, so the real question though is, do you think they ate goat for dinner that night?
Gosh,
Too far.
bro, we took
They
the
ate,
trauma
would you
to a
call him
whole
Timmy?
new level.
Would you call him Timmy? Yeah, we're eating Timmy for
Poor
dinner tonight.
Timmy. Poor Timmy. I mean, that would take the trauma to a whole new level. However, at least the sacrifice wasn't in vain. At least it fed them.
That's true. Now that's wow, preach, bro.
But I'm sure you had some Uncrustables or some chicken nuggets that you could have served instead of goat, instead of Timmy.
Oh shoot, bro.
They're like,
We had my
why do you
family.
think you were feeding them all week? You're getting them fat.
So my family's from Ashland, Kentucky, and one of my I guess he would have been great uncles. They lived on a farm and they had this turkey named Hambone. And it
Hambo.
was Hambone. And we love this turkey. Like for years and years and years growing up, we would play with this turkey. His name was Hambone. We thought that was just hilarious or whatever. And
Good name.
sure enough, one Thanksgiving, we show up and Hambone's gone. And
No.
I'm serious.
No.
And all the kids were like, "Hey, where's Hambone?" And we were eating Hambone for dinner that night.
Did they tell you that was
He did. Oh yeah, because for
had
them,
you already eaten or it was before you ate?
it was before. So
Did everybody eat?
yeah, I mean,
Heartless.
bro, it's Kentucky, dude. We're
Heartless.
farmers. It's what they do.
Well,
They
Ashland,
raise
yes.
in Ashland they
Ashland,
raise
yes.
they raise animals to eat them.
Yeah.
So it was nothing for him.
I mean, it's fair. Like I'm not a
But
vegetarian.
for us kids, right? But for us kids, it was a little bit. So I can kind of relate to the story some.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I understand what it's like to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hambone,
mean?
man.
So funny. One more funny.
Rip
We got to get
Hambone.
off here. One more funny ghost story though. My friend from
You say ghost story or goat story?
Goat.
Okay, so I thought.
So my
I was gonna say, did Timmy come back at the end of the story?
Timmy's back. Resurrected. So here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy, dude. Jesus resurrected Timmy in front of all these kids.
Now that's life changing. Jeez.
Part 2.
I guarantee he tried to figure out a way to bring in another goat to show that. And they're like, no, bro, you took it too far already.
So my one of my best friends from college, he's still my best friend today, but met him in college. He is from Kenya, and but he grew up here in the States. I think he moved here when he was a kid. And so he grew up in the States, and he hadn't been home to visit his family from Kenya the whole time. So until we were sophomores in college, I believe, something like that. And over like Christmas break, was the first time since he moved to the States he got to go back and visit his family in Kenya. And he said that when dude, I love what sucks is he's not here to tell the story because it's so much better coming from him. I hate secondhand stories that have told so much worse.
It's all right.
But a part of his family lives sort of like in the villages right outside of Nairobi.
Sure.
And he said he was staying with them, and it was like this big celebration that David was back in town and gets to see his family, right? So they were going to throw this big party, cook this big meal, and so he jumps in the car with his whoever family members, and they go into town to get all the food for dinner. And he said that they picked up he said they stopped by this farm, picked up this live goat, and David had to sit in like the trunk of the car with this goat all the way back to home. And he was like, it was the most heartbreaking thing he'd ever experienced to know that
What was about to
in
happen?
just a short period of time, this goat was about to get slaughtered and they were about to eat it for dinner. He said, I got so
Oh my
attached
gosh.
to this stupid
He's
goat
he's
on
back
the
there
cart.
like petting its head and like it's sniffing his ear and he's like, "Oh, look at him." Bro, this is not
Knowing
going to
that
be good
just
for
in
you.
a
Don't be happy.
short couple hours, that was what he was
Ugh.
having for dinner,
See,
dude.
I couldn't like that's the thing, man. Like I'm not vegetarian. I mean, obviously, I mean I'll eat whatever. And and I have no qualms with that. I have no beef with that. No pun
Right.
intended.
No beef.
But I don't want to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Just put it on my plate.
And for real, like if I went, there's no way. So like my brother-in-law, like they bought like a half cow like a year and a half ago, dude, and they got so much meat. It was
Right.
insane.
Right.
And the quality of it, phenomenal.
Yeah, we got a quarter
like,
recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's nothing like it, man. But like I could if there were, and I don't know if this was part of the process, but like I couldn't go out to the farm, look at a cow and say, yeah, I want that one. Like I couldn't do it because
I want the left side.
Yeah, right. Let me look and see which side looks better. Yeah, like okay, yeah, give me that one. I mean, I don't know if I'm just too emotional, too empathetic. Like I just couldn't.
I couldn't
like,
do it either.
I don't hunt. Like my dad and my brother both hunt and grew up like going on hunts, and I'm squirrel hunting, dove hunting, deer hunting. I'm so thankful that I never had the opportunity to see anything. Like now I think they think I'm the curse because every time they went by themselves, they got something. When I was there, nothing. But I'm so thankful, dude, because there's no way I could do that. There's no way.
Penny. Yeah. I hate to fish, let alone, but that's for just because I'm impatient.
Right. Yeah. I guess I could say like
either.
I could fish and do that. And maybe because I did that a lot growing up too. And I don't know if it's a different, but like, I don't know, man, looking at the face of an animal, man, like a cow or a chicken or anything, a goat, whatever. Dude, I had an alpaca burger once. We had this place in Louisville called Game, and it's a local restaurant, and they have all kinds of wild game and different things that you can get. And I tried an alpaca burger. It was delicious.
Man.
It was delicious.
Man.
But I couldn't go pick it out. I wouldn't be like, I want that one.
That.
Right?
Like man. Isn't an alpaca like a llama? Like a llama,
pretty much.
Llama burger.
Yeah.
I think they're different though, aren't they? Like they're different animals.
In some way, shape, or form, but they look the same. Llama,
all right,
alpaca, whatever.
Well, we did it. We made it to the end. We got through that.
Bro, it's been good. It's been an adventure.
We'll pick back up next week.
Yeah, man. We'll see y'all next week. And tell a friend. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And and
you can check out both. Yeah, you can check out both. If you're listening to this via audio, we do have video of this on YouTube now, which is cool. So check out the Unmasked podcast.
Yeah, go check it out. We've had some issues and challenges with that, but we're getting that worked out.
First 2 episodes. Maybe wait till
hang
next
with
week.
us. But yeah, jump on there, subscribe. It'll be good. And man, we're just, dude, I'm excited. This has been a good journey so far already, and I'm excited about the future holds, man.
That's right. It's fun. Maybe we'll get a guest on soon, have an interview.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It'll be fun. All right,
cool,
y'all.
brother. It was good seeing you.
See you, bro.
Y'all take care.
Bye.